4:30. Alderman Rodriguez Brown.
Present.
Alderman Les Penn. Alderman Tim Taylor.
Present.
Alderman Fred Esco. Alderman Lafayette Wells.
Present.
Alderwoman Daphne Sims.
Here.
Alderman Tim Taylor. I'm
Present.
not Tim Taylor, that's how you Tim. Alderman Eric Guilty. We will ask, Alderman Penn just walked in. Alderman Wells, will you lead us on a brief prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, we come today, God, we just, again, thank you for another opportunity. Thank you for allowing us to assemble here today. And Father, we ask your blessing on the city, the mayor, the governing authorities, and all of the citizens. And we ask that what we do today be pleasing in our sight, and that what we do would be beneficial to the citizens of Canton. And Father, we just thank you for this day, and we thank you for Jesus, and forgive us for sin, and watch over us, lead, guide, and protect. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Before we adopt this agenda, I would like to announce to this distinguished body that John Canton did have a meeting last night. And at his meeting, he did disqualify Rodriguez Brown, William Truly, Watson Truly, Fred Esco, and Monica Guilty again. With that said, that information delivered, I take a motion to adopt the agenda. So moved. Do we have a second? It's been so motion and so moved that we adopt the agenda. There's been a second. All in favor? Tim Taylor, aye.
Well,
Sam,
Brown, aye.
Ken, aye. Motion carried. In the matter of item 2, approval of claims docket, do we have a motion? In the matter of item 2, approval of the claims docket, do we have a motion?
I make the motion.
Is there a second?
So moved.
There has been a motion that we adopt the claim docket. It has been second. All in favor?
Sam, aye.
Well, let's go up.
Tim Taylor, nay.
Ken, aye.
What was the count? Mr. Brown?
4-3.
Motion carried. In the matter of item 4, payroll docket approved. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
There has been a motion that we adopt the payroll, that we approve the payroll, and there's been a second. All in favor?
Ken, aye.
Tim Taylor, aye.
Sam, aye.
Well, that's right.
Motion carried. And in the matter of item number 5, the oath of office, city clerk. You have the- you have the oath? Oh. This is not a Bible. I'm just used to grandmama Bible. That's all. Raise your right hand. You got the Bible, you got the Bible. Okay, there you go. You shooting from that angle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the oath thing. For our municipal clerk, our city clerk, Ms. Deborah Brown. I will ask you, Ms. Brown, to repeat after me. I
I, Brown,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will,
that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully
faithfully
and impartially
and impartially,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
of city clerk.
of city clerk,
And while filling the same,
while filling the same,
will not become
would not become
individually interested,
individually interested,
either directly
either directly
or indirectly,
or indirectly,
in the profit
in the profit
or proceeds
of proceeds
of any contract
of any contract
to which the city of Canton
in which the city of Canton
is a party.
is a part.
Sworn to and subscribed before me this the 2nd of March 2021. God bless you, God bless your family, and much success. Oh, thank you. Weird, you have to sign. Oh, okay. You wanna put this back? I can have it.
You sure?
There it is now. We have a presentation today, police department.
Good afternoon, landlord. Two of my officers out working an accident. So I have one officer here, Mr. Jonathan Sims, and I asked him to come up. As y'all might know, we had some incidents that take place, the latter part of the year into this year. And Jonathan and Officer Williams, Xavier Williams, and Officer Travis, they stayed out, they worked. We had an incident take place out at one of our hotels, well, two of the hotels. And then we had some more stuff to take place also, and these guys have really stepped up to the plate. And we want to show our appreciation by giving them a plaque here, Outstanding Achievement Award, for stepping up to the plate, doing such a good job, and protecting the citizens. So with this, I would like to present this to you, Mr. Jonathan Sims. Thank you for the job well done. Like I said, Xavier Williams and Larry Travis are out working an accident. They were supposed to be here also, but they weren't able to come due to the accident that just took place just a few minutes ago, so they're out working. We just want to thank you for everything you do and keep up the good work.
All right, thank you. Officer Sims, did you just get hired?
Yes, sir.
And you already in the mix?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get some business while you're on the line.
Don't be proud. There appears to be, to the board and to the citizens of Canton, today simultaneously, we have 2 employees of the month. Normally and historically there's 1, but this time we have 2. Both of who are distinguished in their duties and responsibilities. Starting with 1, the Director of Parks and Recreation, who historically over all of these years has always responded to the city and always responded to the community and is always working. I specifically want to thank him for the call that I received from the Links, Debbie Long, in which the people at the Links, like people in the city, were having all kinds of problems, and I immediately got Alvin on the phone, and he took it upon himself and to make sure that water was available to that part of the city, and they certainly appreciate what you did. You've always volunteered and given more than 100%. Ms. Lisa Ward Champion, are you here?
No, she's not here.
She is not here. Lisa has always been loyal, allegiant, dedicated, responsible. Sir?
No.
You ask her to do something for and on the behalf of the city. She's always willing and ready to do it. She has a tremendous amount of vision in trying to make our multipurpose complex and our recreational department work. So with that said, we have 1 plaque here, but your plaque is coming. But look, don't blame the mayor. I read what I see here, but our hearts are with you, and you will receive one of these. They're pouring the gold on it now. Okay. The Employee of the Month, as we said, Mr. Alvin Davis and Ms. Lisa Ward, and it simply says, Employee of the Month, Lisa Ward Champion, February 2001. And the same will say and speak well of Alvin Davis, Employee of the Month, 2001. Could you receive this for her, Alvin, please?
Is this that, or you said your name?
Make it seem like you're doing.
We'll just put a glare on it. It's fine.
Excuse me.
In addition to that, I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything because on this particular day, when all this rain and all this sleet came through and the ice, Davis himself didn't have lights nor water at home. But he was just like Superman, saving everybody else. In our city, we have a lot of people who are unsung heroes. But on today, we're acknowledging a true unsung hero in the city of Canton. A dear friend of mine, one of the hardest workers in the city. And again, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the aldermen of the city of Canton, I'd just like to say thank you, Mr. Davis, for all the work that you've done and that you do. And thank you for your presence here in the city of Canton. When we left college, Alvin came to work here, and he's been here ever since. And ever since he's been here, he's always had a smile on his face. And I wish all the workers would follow his light and go forward and make this city the best city that it can be. Thank you again, and so be it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Alvin. Thank you.
We have the other 2 police officers here, Chief Brown.
Yes, sir. Officer Travis and Officer Williams. Hey, Tim Taylor told y'all to keep that camera on him. You see why? Here we're gonna have Officer Larry Travis and Officer Xavier Williams. These two guys here, Jonathan has already received the plaque and left, but you know, y'all was out working an accident. We just want to let y'all know we appreciate the things y'all do. I really do appreciate it. I know the board and the mayor appreciate the same thing. Just keep up the good work. Keep being mindful, respectful of the city.
I'd rather you take that call than listen to us.
So we really want to thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Hey Travis, tell Jake slow down going to the car.
Yes, sir, Chief.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
The next item we have on our agenda is the CBU update.
How y'all doing today?
As far as the update is concerned, we have a couple of things on the horizon. As you all probably know, we're in litigation with Master, trying to come up with a mediation for both sides to come to an agreement on dealing with Beasley's wastewater treatment plant. We're supposed to meet on the 8th, Butler Snow's office, and I'll keep you apprised on what happens in that. We're also recognizing people who work through the storm. We're gonna do, we're getting with the board of aldermen, trying to come up with a game plan on how to recognize those people that work through the storm. Rent funding. As you know, the mayor has stated before, excuse me, you know, our infrastructure is it's old, over 50 years old, so what we're doing, we're gonna work with Ms. Crowley. I think you all are pretty much familiar with her.
Yeah.
We're gonna work with her, looking at getting some grant funding to kind of help with that, to offset that cost. As you all know, anything that we do as far as grant funding has to start and come through you all first. That's why we decided to go with you, the person that you all use for grant funding. So hopefully we can start getting some funds in so we can start upgrading different places, different infrastructure. As you already know, the cast iron, we are on the last end of that, upgrading that. We're changing out all the old cast iron to plastic. So we should be, hopefully get finished with that sometime this year, before the end of the year. Probably supposed to start around March, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's it from my area. I'll let the vice chair of the board, if he wants to address.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Like you said, it's pretty much the update on all that we have going on out, and but I do want to get up and commend all of you guys for helping us throughout the storm. We all pulled together. It wasn't no he did this, he did that. I just wanted to come up and publicly thank all of you guys for pulling together. I mean, there are some cities now that's still down, but Canton rose to the occasion and we got things done, and we definitely want to commend and recognize our workers who worked tirelessly throughout the night, getting that water and power back on. So again, I want to thank the board of aldermen for all y'all did and helping us to collaborate with that.
Thank you.
Now, yeah, we've been waiting on you all to watch. I know natural disasters happen everywhere, but the natural disaster that happened in Canton a week or two ago, I think there was some breakdown in communication. Because I know I called the commissioners, they didn't know any information. But what we do know is that the city of Canton didn't have water. And out of all the wells that we have in Canton, how do they all run out of water at the same time, at a time like this? Now, I can appreciate you all giving each other accolades, but those accolades only go toward you all. The people who are feeling the crunch don't get accolades. Our senior citizens who had to do without don't get the accolades. And to some degree, we were also Johnny-come-lately in rescuing them with water. So my question to you all going forward, and there will be other disasters, what is the plan of action? Because no one from CMU has yet to share that with us. I'm not talking about Mr. Young because I know he's the general manager, but I'm talking about the 5 commissioners that we appoint over there that, as of today, no one from that particular group has communicated anything to this board. And I know the disaster is over, I know we're back on par, but yet there's still a breakdown in communication, and we still don't know what happened from A to Z as to what we should look for with the next line of crisis that may be coming our way. So the only thing that I would like to say is that I hope in the future that we do a better job with the people that we appoint, because we look for that communication. And at no point, if you all know something, it should be conveyed to us, because the citizens are calling us, and all we can say is, we hadn't heard anything. And that's a pretty bad position to be put in. I called out to your dispatchers, and they told me that a water main was broken, but they can't find the water main because of the ice. And how do you know it's a water main? You see what I'm saying? And I'm quite sure you all communicated with them, but you didn't communicate anything to us. And you may have talked to the mayor, but nothing was well, let me put it this way. Nothing as far as the representative of Ward 5, nothing was communicated to me.
Well, since the ice storm, we have implemented several things, and one of them is a mass text communication system. And for y'all that don't know, y'all can text the word CMU to 74121, and that's gonna give you an update on what's going on with CMU. This is something we've been trying to implement, we finally got it, and that should help out us a lot. But going forward, we also implemented this, infrared gun, because what happened was, on the wells, the valves, of course we do preventive maintenance, but those valves wasn't reading correctly to the water level. So now we're using this infrared to where we can actually read the water level. So going forward, we learned a lot, but as we mentioned, these pipes hadn't seen that kind of weather or temperature before. And so going forward, we got a lot of things that we implement, and we're gonna try, and we're learning. What some mistakes made, possibly so, manpower issues, possibly so, but going forward, we're learning, and we're going forward and implement all of these changes. And I guess we'll pick up the ball as far as communicating with you guys. Like last night, I think y'all had a meeting and we didn't know anything about it, but so it kind of goes hand in hand. So we'll just kind of work with each other for now, I guess, and try to get the communication ball picked up.
Yeah, and the only thing I would request is that, when we go through a crisis situation like this, and you all are meeting, just notify someone here, other than the mayor. Because none of us, I was calling around and nobody knew anything. And of course, I talked to Mr. Gilkey quite a few times, but we just didn't know anything. And that puts us in limbo when people start calling us, and we don't know what to say, because we don't know what's going on.
I would like to say one thing, if you don't mind, sir. What our path of communication was from CMU to Anthony, and then Anthony was supposed to have done that part as far as notify you all. I'm not sure where that broke down at, but that was our path of communication. And it's always been that path of communication, because what we found out was people were putting out stuff that really wasn't true on social media. So we had to make sure that what we did from that point on, everything went through that path. That's what we did. We have all information to show it. That's what we did. Everything we did, we sent it through that path.
And I would like to make an observation, and that is that information wasn't simply disseminated just to the mayor only, for the mayor to put in the reservoir. Lafayette, Wells, and I talked almost all day Friday, talked almost all day Saturday. Sometimes Alderman Esco was involved. And we three, or we two, whatever you want to call it, were working with CMU, as it relates to our problems. And they were, of course, giving us updates. I guess if anyone is to blame, it should be us three, because we talked so much and so long, we never got the information out to the other aldermen. We were basically focused on trying to respond to no water, shortage of water, the loss of power in the tanks. I told Lafayette, don't call me. I'm tired and he was tired. We got tired of each other, I think. It was hard. I mean, it was hard work that those of us who were involved in this, and Mr. Esco was involved as well, it was just hard. And so we do learn from all of this, and I don't know who's on our crisis management team, and perhaps we need to take a look at a crisis management team going forward, because you never know when an act of God is going to occur. And the next time it might be a storm or a tornado or an earthquake. But I do think that we need a crisis management team interrelated and integrated amongst all of our folks who meet the standard and criteria of being on that committee. So I think what can come out of this, and I thank you, Alderman Hill, for starting the conversation, because I think what you have done is given birth to a crisis management team, that I know we have many, but we really need a crisis management team, and maybe we can go down that path, forward. And I would hate for us to leave here today. I know CMU has to be involved, and if there are any aldermen who want to be on that team as we speak now, let's let it be known, and then we can call in the other experts. I would like to volunteer for one as the mayor.
No, I mean, yeah, and we had talked about that the other day. I'm not trying to not answer the question here, but we had talked about making that committee as a whole, but if you wanna make it with less than the full board, then we could do that. I mean, if you wanna be on it, Alderman Gilkey just said he did.
I think all of us basically.
Yeah, I mean, we all wanna be on it.
Okay.
And during that time, we're not able to really come up here and meet as a whole anyway, so we're not gonna have a quorum.
Right.
And it's really gonna be a more, where are you at the moment? And you're gonna be on the phone calling each other back and forth and communicating. But,
And I don't know, Blessed, maybe we can hopefully get a good way of communication. I don't know if cell phones, I don't know, but anyway, we can.
well, one of the purposes of, when we switched over to AT&T, we had that FirstNet deal to where where it helps with first responders and make sure you have the cell phone service and all that. I mean, I don't see where, it seems like that would be the best way for us to always communicate, is because we do have that, that specialty for the aldermen, our first responders and CMU, so.
Okay.
Hopefully we don't have to use it next week, but,
Exactly.
yeah.
Right, because man, Mr. Young, he was answering so many questions, because all of us was getting calls, and I called him several times, prior to us having a conversation, and I said, I hate to disturb you, but, can you give me an update? And I said, because people are asking, and they wasn't understanding what the news was telling them, and he said, well, I'll call you back, and he called me, and we finally got his group together, he said, we'll get out one message and send it to Anthony for him to send out to the board of aldermen, and then we could post it on our Facebook pages. And that's the way, because I told him, I said, I wasn't putting anything out there. I was telling him what he told me until he got to that point, because people were calling.
But you see how critical that is. Even if you put it on Facebook, what happens to the senior citizens who
Right.
don't have access?
Right, and that's
The
what.
radio station was down and all that,
So
so.
people were watching the TV, but
Right.
some people wasn't understanding what the TV was saying.
Right, so if they have a alderman's telephone number that they
Right.
can call,
Right.
then that makes the biggest difference in the world.
That's
So,
right.
when ridicule goes out, and I know I had some ridicule for CMU, that same ridicule comes back to this board.
Right.
And, as far as publicly, ridiculing anybody on this board based on the names that the mayor called out, we're friends, but we can't wear our feelings on our sleeve.
Right.
And that constructive criticism goes to both of my colleagues
Right.
and the mayor, because nothing was communicated.
That's right. Yeah.
Nothing, absolutely nothing was communicated. And, you know, from a leadership role, shame on us.
Right, that's
You
right.
can't make those types of excuses
Right.
that we can't call one another and tell one another what's going on.
That's right.
So that criticism has to be an umbrella that you all
Right.
fit under,
Right.
and hopefully it won't happen again.
Well, let me mention this, and I'm gonna be through with this.
Okay.
I disagree with the Honorable Alderman from Ward 5 as it relates to the work that is being done. I think Alvin Davis worked his tail off in trying to respond to the citizens out there at the links. And he did that also as a consequence of the involvement of the mayor, talking to the manager of the links, who shared that information with me. I didn't have the time to call Les and Rodriguez and Daphne and Eric and everybody on this board as I negotiated help for these folks. I was focused on basically getting help at that moment and at that time. It was really not normal time. It was very abnormal time. And Lisa Ward was doing all kind of work, working with Deborah, working with Desmond, trying to get water to people, setting all of that up. And it was on a weekend in which we were doing this. We were trying to make services available to our citizens. And that's what we were doing in action. I didn't have the time to call everybody. Lafayette didn't have the time to call everybody. Because we were just focusing, and hopefully, you know, with the crisis management team, we can do this differently. We did some good things, and maybe we did some things better.
And then having said that, that's one thing that I felt that we didn't do as a term that they use in the military, an after action review. So we didn't necessarily get together these entities and kind of talk about what actually occurred and how we kind of embrace all those shortcomings going forward. We didn't have a plan. So we can sit here all day and we'll be pointing fingers almost at every entity that was involved. We need to just sit down because we didn't have a plan. And that plan doesn't occur when the unforeseeable event happens, because we already know that those things would happen. We didn't have a plan at all. We responded the best we could as it relates to what happened. But then again, you know, like I spoke once before, you know, we reacted. And again, flooding season, hurricane season is about to come upon us, what have you, for the most part, and we're reacting to it. And so I'm hoping that this setting here, we bring out all these concerns and set up a realistic meeting to address the needs. Because it's one thing to get here and trying to talk about it. Then when the meeting is over, you know, that's the last we speak on these things. You know, so again, you know, how we reacted to what happened. We see on the news from other cities, other states, the mayor, whoever the city comes before and speak, then all of a sudden we reacted to that. You know, so we didn't necessarily have a plan. So that's why when we don't have a plan, these are the types of things that occur when you don't have a plan. Everybody's all over the place. When Mrs. Taylor calls out there to the service center to get an update or whatever that update is, it shouldn't be the answer that he received. He didn't know or whatever. So those are some things that we all need to work on, because again, that type of information probably shouldn't even get it for the most part until it went through a vetting process or whatever for the most part. So again, we can sit here and, like I said, and talk about this all day, and everybody can raise their hand and say, we did this, we did that. Until we sit down and develop a plan, we're gonna be in the same situation we're in now. Because we're waiting for something to happen before we react to it. That's the worst thing you can do.
Yes, sir.
Because I got a phone call, and I got called everything but every view. But I listened to it though, because I felt those frustrations. felt. Just like I mentioned yesterday, we talk about things here in the public, and if something is a good idea, just because every guilty brings it up or whatever, you know, don't assume that that's an every guilty issue. It's not, it's a city issue. And like I said once before, you know, we get into these tribal zones and Ward 1 through 7, whatever, getting this done and that done, but nobody see the results of it simply because it's isolated. When people come to Canton, they don't say, hey, Ward 6. They say Canton. So those are the type of things that we need to work on as we go forward. So again, and we've been talking about flooding. We talked about flooding for years. We'll get through it, man. We've been talking about flooding for years. I come here, I beat my head. Nobody wants to spend money over in Ward 6 and everything because they want to, hey, we want something done over in our area. But again, Ward 6 is where the flooding, you know, that's where everything flows through. Flows through all these other wards and it sits right there in Ward 6. And once again, way back, you know, before any of us were able to sit here at this board, we were all sitting over there in those particular wards. Now that we have a seat at the table and everything, everybody kind of shifted, but yet those problems that we shifted from are still there. And I understand that we have on individual wards because they're moving out of those districts that were having these problems and moving into, you know, some of these other areas or what have you. Now, those areas, problematic areas have become less important to me. So we gotta get together as a team. If that's what the main issue that we're having, and again, like we talked about, distribution of water. And we created multiple distribution centers because everybody probably can't make it out there to the multi-purpose building. That's why yesterday I suggested that Alan get that building that's over there at the park, get it prepared, you know, for storage or whatever. Those are the things we need to jump on. But since, you know, so just because I may have brought it up, that's all get behind it. Makes sense? Let's team up and makes sense. Because that's benefiting everybody in the city, and not just, you know, he has an individual. So that's just all I want to share.
Chief Spears.
No, I just want to say, we do have emergency, action plan. All you guys need to just get with all the department head and we can, implement it because we already have it, wrote up and everything. Ms. Joyce said Nichols has a copy of it. So we just got the department head, get with the department head and we can implement it. We got all the numbers, the school system, CMU, for the buses, for everything. So all we got to do is just implement the plan that we already have.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
Thank you. Canton tourism update.
Excuse me, Mayor Moore. I would just like to thank you all for this plaque and for thinking about this.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
We just gotta find a basket to these.
Thank you.
Thank you. Canton tourism.
How are y'all?
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Back along. Huh?
We didn't see you.
I had to run, I was in the bed for 3 weeks, but I've been here for y'all, so thank you, appreciate that. I got a phone call this morning that y'all like an update, I wasn't exactly sure what you need an update on, so, is there any questions before I start? Anything specific y'all want to update on?
I think that's what we need to do as we go forward. We need to, when we request, you know, an update or whatever, if there's anything specific, we'll kind of say, okay, it's just a general update. So Mr. Taylor, is that kind of the consent of the way we were going, for them to come before us?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So if there's anything specific, they'll.
I want to know about the weapon signs, you know, I came to guys meeting and
Right.
talked about it.
Did you see my email the other day?
I did,
Yeah.
you guys are, do you know how many persons?
Well, I'd like to do one on all the entrances,
Right,
like you
okay.
suggested, yeah.
Okay.
It's just getting to, I know the south side is easy because that's city property, but
Right.
the others, you gotta deal with the right of ways and
Okay.
how long.
Right,
That's what the sign company are telling me.
okay.
So it's a process, I think that would probably be the easiest and quickest one we can get done.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are working on that. We sold that land, remember me mentioning last time I was here, we own 23 acres next to Busey basketball. And there's a gentleman that bought that land there from Rick Moore, there's another building out there, and, the gentleman that came to our board meeting, and he bought 1.59 acres. And so, that's what we've asked, I've asked our board to spend that money on those sides since we didn't have it budgeted.
Okay.
And so that's our plan.
Okay, very good. You know what you got planned to do with land, the property land, or is
He
it?
wants to build office spaces.
Okay.
That's what he told our board. So, and I believe, Mary, you met him, didn't you?
Who was that?
With, Mark, don't blank on his last name. Our chairman introduced you to him, I think.
Probably so.
Andrew Jenkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I'm sorry, Alderman Sam. Alderman Sam.
so we're moving forward on that.
Okay, very good.
Is there any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question is, do you foresee past, post-COVID, the resurrection of July 4th festival?
Last year we did it, but we did it with people in their cars. And we're hoping this year that we'll be able to go, you can't ever go back to a new normal, a normal, what it was, but we are planning the event at this time. Of course, it will depend on COVID restrictions around that time as to what we can and really cannot do. Last year we didn't have the concerts and that kind of stuff to not put people in crowd gatherings, so, we still did the balloon glow where people could sit in their cars and, of course, it rained that night, but we were able to do the fireworks and, Jerry put on the radio patriotic music to coincide with the fireworks, so we still plan on doing it, it's just, I can't tell you how it's gonna look because I don't know what COVID's gonna look like.
I don't, I understand that we have our own COVID guidelines and proclamations, but, there were some things today, the state of Texas is going back to 100% operations on the 10th of March with no mask, and the governor lifted the state mask mandate today in Mississippi. So, like I said, I understand we have guidelines and we'll get to a date that we'll look to and whatnot, but I guess what I'm saying is, as far as the state of Mississippi goes, it looks like we're heading to where you'll just have to, you and the mayor will be able to work it out.
Yeah, the numbers are definitely going on down, but the medical side of it.
Real.
Right.
Right, yeah, I'm not saying we need to have,
That's the
1,000 people tomorrow
Don't say
here.
that the masks are eliminated,
Right.
but he recommends you wear.
Right.
That's
It's kinda like an insurance policy, he's not saying wear, but he's not telling you not to wear.
Well, let me
And if the mayor
mention
does
this.
a mask mandate,
Let me mention this from a medical point of view.
Right.
CDC, Dr. Foster, those of us who believe in it, those of us who have been vaccinated, they're still recommending that we wear masks. Okay. I don't have anything else.
Alright, well then I'm gonna give y'all my request.
No, not mine.
You give it to be like Alan Davis.
Hey, that's a good person to be compared to.
Oh, really?
You can't be told no if you don't ask.
That's right. Homework.
I want homework. Thank you.
So the first thing you'll see, that is, a letter we requested back in October. I believe y'all appointed Gail Canton to our board in August. We asked, that's a letter that you can see, dated October 8th, a request if she's been sworn in. And Kim Banks had written stuff, and said it was up to Allison Majors to get that sworn in. Our attorney has emailed Allison several times tonight, and we don't know if that's been done or not. So that'll be my first request, if y'all can find out if that's been done. If not, she's already missed 3 meetings. And so doesn't look good on our part. The second thing in there is, in December, our auditors came to our office to conduct our annual audit. In January, they sent a letter to Allison Majors, the city clerk, requesting her to complete a form that they always have to ask. We've not gotten a response from them either. So, if we can get that taken care of, the auditors can finish our audit report. And then, the last thing in there is our, I talked to Alderman Wells this afternoon, and he wanted to see our financials for last month. And so I made y'all a copy. Y'all love that, I told him this afternoon, they're in a notebook in my office, sitting on a shelf. They're done by the month, so y'all are welcome anytime to come in and look at them and, go through them. If you ask any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Also, Alderman Wells asked about the farmer's market that Kim Banks and I have been working on. We still have not heard back if we've gotten that grant yet, but, the tourism office is going to move forward with hopefully hosting a farmer's market this summer. It would be on 2 Friday nights a month, outdoors, and, we're trying to get certified through the Ag Commission's office to be a certified farmer's market so that farmers can accept, EBT cards and things like that for our, rural economic residents. So those are just some of the projects we're working on. And of course, y'all got my email about the cleanup day on March 13th. So, we've got pickers and garbage bags, and we're gonna go to town. Melanie said that the first is to leave the bags where they are and he'll get them, so that Monday, they're gonna have to clean up.
So what area do you talk about?
We're gonna start with the entrances of town. If we have more, volunteers, the more volunteers, the farther we can go, you know. But we're gonna start from the entrances of town, Union Street, B Street, 1643, Howard, come in towards our downtown area. And like I said, the more volunteers we have, the more we can do. So. The only other thing, our beautification committee yesterday met with, the master gardener with Mississippi State Extension Office. And Melon,
He's out.
did he mention about us and the city property yesterday?
I don't think so.
We're trying to find out if the city owns the property behind Piggly Wiggly. We would like to clean it up and put, there's different types of plants you can plant that will, be attractive, since it's on our main thoroughfare coming into town, so he was gonna find that out.
Isn't that like a strip between a house and a?
It is,
Okay.
Little vacant lot,
yeah, yeah.
I know who owns the property, I've been in touch, I can get his name.
Okay, so it's not the city,
No,
okay.
right.
I would doubt whoever owns it would mind y'all cleaning
Clean it
it
up,
up.
I think so.
So,
Yeah, and so, the beautification committee is gonna, as we just see different properties that need cleaning up, it's by no means a litigation letter or a representation of the city at all. We're just simply sending them kind of a nice notification that, we're out cleaning up and we appreciate you cleaning up your property too. And then, it's like I mentioned to y'all when I told you, we formed the committee, that if we see it doesn't get done, then we'll turn it over to Jimmy's office. So, just so you know, you get residents that say, I got a letter, you know where it came from. It's not a threatening letter, it's a very nice letter. It's just asking them to please clean up, So,
Okay.
alright, anything else I can do for y'all? Do y'all want updates once a month? I mean, y'all tell me.
I think it's like, Alderman Gilkey said, we need to, when we request you to be here, we need to request what we're wanting, cause, you obviously have a very large department, oversees a lot, and, you come up here and you're not sure what.
I could talk all day.
Yeah, so, but, I don't think it would hurt to plan on one of the 2 meetings, the plan meetings,
That's fine.
one of those 2 each month.
That's fine. And y'all are always welcome to our board meetings too, because they get long-winded updates too, so. Alright. Y'all have any questions?
But since you said that we have a janitor that's coming forward, who is pretty much the
Director.
director, so we're requesting other departments to come, members to come before us. I know you came by yourself, but they want to see,
The board members?
a board member, someone that's working along with you, not just you. So, that's our way of kind of gauging, how well they understand the bodies that they govern. for the most part. So,
I can ask our chairman, he's always, when we he calls, doesn't he?
Thank you.
You're
Good
welcome.
deal. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Sam.
Item 7, the Rudy Watkins, is he on there?
He's supposed to be, I sent the link to him.
He's not on at the moment.
He's not
I
on.
mean,
Okay, we'll go to item 8, overriding mayor veto on consideration of resolution on
Yeah.
submitted candidate approved for motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, that we override the mayor's veto, pass resolution, override the mayor's veto. It reads as this: whereas the mayor and board of aldermen found by unanimous vote that all candidates who timely submitted their qualifying statement of intent and fees were certified by someone who purported to act as an official of the Democratic Party, and the slate of candidates who could be considered as candidates for general election, and bring all municipal action to a close. That's my motion.
Do we have a second? I don't understand the motion. Who's from the second? Yeah, can I get a copy?
It's a resolution of the city of Canton, Mayor, to override the mayor.
I mean, can I have?
February the 25th,
I understand that, I'm asking, copies available.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll make the second.
All in favor?
Taylor, aye.
Ken, I.
Motion carries.
Let's go on.
As relates to item 11, override the mayor's veto on the resolution regarding 2021 municipal candidate approved on February the 22nd, 2021.
This is item 9.
Item 9, I'm sorry.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we override the mayor's veto, which reads, whereas the mayor and board of aldermen were presented with, applicable evidence by the previous city clerk that Mr. Colby Walker, correction, submitted his qualified fee after the 5 p.m. deadline, and bring all municipal action to a close.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Rodriguez Brown, all in favor?
Ken, I.
Tim Taylor, aye.
That's what I.
Motion carried. As relates to item 10, authorize public hearing on March 2nd, 2021 for complaint property at 615 West Franklin Street.
Jimmy.
615.
I'm not so sure if we have the. I had talked with, Mr. Cotton about the property. Is there, you like to?
Did you want to speak, Mr. Cotton?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm just concerned to ask that, give me, 6 months to restore the property, and if it's not complete, restoring it out, tear it down.
If I could just interject, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There are two houses on, or 2 buildings on that lot.
Okay, so we're looking at both.
Yes, but Mr. Cotton did get a permit to renovate one of the properties.
He only has a permit for one of them at the moment?
At the moment, yes.
The reason I got a permit for one, I'm gonna do one at a time, but I can,
Where's this?
So,
Who's West Franklin?
so you're gonna deal with a bit on one.
well, what, I've already started on the reason that first. But the other one I didn't start on with. And there's a tenant in the other one also, and, I issued them a eviction notice, and you know it's hard to find houses now, so, Need time for them to find a house, and as soon as they find a house, I'll start repairing or tearing it down.
Is the one that, someone's living in right now, does it have electricity?
Yep, she pays a bill every month, but she, you know, there's other issues going on. Other than that.
Mr. Smith, I'm sorry, I was just wondering, is this picture updated today?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, actually, that's a duplex. It's two sides, and one side is vacant, and it's been vacant for about 2 years, and the other side.
Okay, so if you're at the road looking at it, the very far
You're looking at the
left
far
is the
side,
one that's
right,
occupied.
that's the vacant,
Okay. That's the vacant.
right.
Oh. Okay, alright, I'm sorry, go ahead. Arlen.
Are you, you said she got to get where to go. Are you getting her, I mean, you giving her this?
I've given her a notice of eviction, and, so, you know, I did not put I didn't put anything other than 30 days on. So if 30 days, if she hadn't moved, then I have to, you know, proceed with the court procedure and all that.
Now, this is the tenant who, that Mr. Taylor has spoken of, which he has a kid, who's relatively pretty bright student, right? And to give her an eviction notice, and if she doesn't have the vote, it's kind of disheartening to agree. But is there, so her location is the one that you're gonna try to work on first?
No, I wasn't working on it first because she was in there.
Right.
So I'm working on the other one right now.
So if you work on the other, would she be a candidate to be placed in it if you in fact,
Well, there's an issue with, her ability to pay rent, you know, and, right now she doesn't pay rent. So, you know, we're gonna run into other issues.
I don't wanna know anything too personal, but
Yeah.
how old is the child?
There
Are
are,
we talking about a kid or a teenager?
no, you're talking about, 10, 12,
10 and 12 or 10 and 12?
I think it's
One
10
kid.
and 12.
Okay.
so this would probably be, that would probably flow along the line with Mr. Taylor was referring to Mr. Beasley, you know, having something set up for situations like that.
Right.
And I'm trying to see whether or not if he can afford, allow, if he has anything on the merchant level to assist this family who has these kids, to where, in fact, because I know it's gonna be difficult for her, to probably find a place for those folks. The housing stock is very minimal, but Mr. Beasley, I know you probably, I know I'm putting you on the spot and you're talking whatever, but these are the types of things that we're trying to draw a bridge to see how certain emergencies can somehow qualify them to perhaps, not necessarily jump above, but nevertheless, the nature of it, you know, should constitute something to kind of help assist these folks. I don't know if you can't. But those are some things that I would like to see what you can do from the housing standpoint. And I know one or two people here and there. And I know we're faced with the same, you know, issue over the, you know, consider the whole. But when we're talking about families and this pandemic and all this stuff that's going on, you know, it's kind of hard pressed to issue a demolition or probably clean up, having to send someone or move someone out of the house that has no other place to go. So we're caught in that dilemma where, you know, what's more than, some people feel at least I gotta move over here or something, but nevertheless, it may not be the best condition, but nevertheless, I'm not on the street. And like I say, I don't know the condition of the family, the ability to pay or not to pay, this is one of those situations where, you know, we have to do, you know, sometimes, I know we should follow the letter of the law, but when you put a family out like this right here, it's very difficult for us to say, okay, this house needs to be demolished, and then you have the authority to kick a person, family out, and I know there's other issues. So how can we, you know, I know your silence is kind of like, that's one of those
Well, you,
situations.
Mr. B's talking yesterday about setting up a fund, you just started with that, though, right? That
Yeah,
hasn't got-
yes, ma'am. I did talk about, I just started that, but also, Mr. Cotton contacted me regarding that particular family as well.
So y'all gonna be
So
implementing-
what I'm trying to do is put together a solution with him
Okay,
that might mitigate that, and it may involve some of our partners going in, actually doing some work to bring it up to par so it won't cost him any money.
Right,
And then we work on a solution
right.
that, in lieu of that, he might, but I'll have to get with him and he'd have to agree to that. But we're trying to put together a piece that we will inform you all, and I can bring you all back to speed as regards to that particular family. This is the path we chose.
Part of that would probably be, in the agreements would be that the tenant who lives in this house or in this house cannot be evicted or whatever, or, because we don't wanna get to a situation where we fix up an apartment or someone's house for the tenant, then once it gets up, hey, you know, I got me a nice little house, you know, now you can.
And that would be part, that would definitely be,
Right.
that would have to be part of it.
Okay.
If he, and it may mean her moving to another location, that we may
Right.
find something that we
So
can get our partners to
we
go
gotta
in
see
and
what we can
remodel.
work on this.
Yeah, we've been trying to work on it. I've already contacted I'm waiting on them to get back with me, but I've been here, so I came here last night.
Before this
today.
person, you know, is out in the street, they'll have a place to stay.
That's what we're working on right now. And I will, hopefully by the next meeting, I'll be able to inform you all and say this is the result.
6 months? Yeah, 6 months. So, are we gonna push it to the next level, give it 6 months, or not?
I'll just be honest, I mean, with involving kids, I just wanna do 6 months, I don't wanna, we can revisit it.
But I think we're trying to get it to where Beasley will probably perhaps have somewhere for them to go.
Yeah,
So.
and I'm with, yeah,
so-
I
so
mean,
with this-
I just don't want, I guess, I don't want it to be where, you know what I'm saying?
I'll follow.
Yeah, and then, and I don't want all these different departments using what I just said also to buy more time.
Right, right, so that's why
Yeah.
we put it in there, because probably within the timeframe, Mr. Beasley and them gonna have something set up for that family to transition over
Yeah.
to, and that 6 months will probably, you know, give him, you know, I'm not saying push the issue of making sure that he get it done, because he has a tight window,
Right.
you know, for the most part, so.
Whatever you think.
So is that reasonable?
Yeah.
No time?
Yeah.
Reasonable? I'm sorry.
I mean, 6 months gets you to the fall, I mean,
You had mentioned,
a long time now.
that if we delay the process, then we will charge the expense to the people that we incurred to do the advertising, you know, of that property.
Yeah.
So, you know, we had kind of tossed that around.
Yeah.
Do you want to include that in your request today, that, you know, the property owner pay the?
Cause I don't think we voted on anything.
No, we haven't, but my thoughts around those were if they were actually on the demolition list, and the tenant comes up and say, hey, when we have it, and we take it off, then we charge, you know, because we've actually taken it off the list, so we're gonna charge you for what we put the advertising out. This kinda seems similar, or what have you, but if in fact he's going to get it done, because again, we rather it be worked on so we can put it back on the tax roll, so the revenues for the city, versus actually tearing it down, so giving them an opportunity to kind of fix it up. It's kind of very supportive of what we're trying to do as a city, and that is to kind of build our housing stock, because we don't have much going right now.
And usually, what cost is that, Mr. Miller?
some way where, we can have the owner to monthly report with the progress versus waiting that whole full 6 months to see if anything be done? I know most of the time, we normally let things ride until they, to the end, but we don't know.
But that's what gender come into, once we give it, they'll have to kind of make sure.
Keep a report on it, present it.
Kind of track it for most part.
And that's what I think we need to do with all of those cases where we don't wait till the end of the 6 months to try to get a report, but we should have that person reporting to Mr. Smith at least once a month to give an update. So he can provide us with an update so we can provide to our constituents. Yeah, if they drive around checking to see what's the progress.
Yeah, because I think on the last home over on Harvey Watkins, which is in Alderman Sims Ward, we did give an extension to, Mr. Ramon.
Yes.
And and he has done that, given an update on what he's doing every month.
Okay.
And I kind of told him in the beginning to make sure he got it to Alderman Sims, but he's been giving it to me, and in return, I give it to, Ms. Sims. So, I don't think that would be a hardship in any type of way, especially as Alderman Gilkey said, it goes back on the tax roll. But, something that, Alderman Penn said, when it's children involved, and these children are truly, based on the name of an old song, children are our future, you know, what type of future are we presenting to them if we don't extend that hand of fellowship to them? I understand what this country, this nation is involved in, but when it comes home, I think we should wrap our arms around it, not only our arms, but our minds, and try to find a way to fix this problem. I know some things, takes a long time to fix them because they've been broken for so long, but I think we should put an effort, especially when it's concerning the future of our city.
Alderman Gilkey, do you have a motion on the floor?
Yeah.
Was there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion carried.
That's 60 days.
6 months.
6 months, okay.
6 months. As it relates to item 11, authorize the approval of those to bid to repair the swimming pool by Custom Pool Care LLC. $7,500. Do we have a motion?
I just had on the ready.
Okay, I make the motion.
There is a motion by Alderwoman Daphne Sims, there's a second by Alderman Eric Gilkey, there's an readiness by Alderman Rodriguez Brown.
And I was just wondering, Mr. Davis, just understand, I know we were saying we did the current swimming pool, but didn't we have some damages that you were speaking of that they needed to take place before trying to?
But the damage that you're referring to, that was, the insurance damage to the pump house, not the swimming pool. So due to the fact that Corona came in last year, we did not get that taken care of in the pool, but on March the 4th, when a straight line wind came in, it tore up the pump house, whereas the filter, the chemicals, were stored in.
Okay.
But then also too, I got a bid on, due to the last, month or so, 2 months ago, we had the top on the pump where the bathrooms are located at. We have, getting that, get some quotes on that right there. And I just got one quote today. I had another guy, he had brought me another quote to, fix the roof on that, on the pump house, on the, where the restroom is there.
That's why I'm just asking.
That's different parts of the swimming pool.
Can I ask you a question too?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a service contract that you're doing the repairs, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Service contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
New pool.
Well, hey, I think someone claimed at 69 was the first time we
How
started.
many we get?
We got three bids.
Three
One
bids.
69,000, one 67,000, this one have 57.
But we did set aside, how much money did we set aside for that?
We set aside 54.
So how do we get those quotes?
I had at least called several individuals that came out, and we met over the pool and, went, showed them what was the job future. I had a, written out, duties, what spec that we wanted done to the swimming pool.
So just like we were spoken once before, having an independent person, who's soliciting for those bids. Because I don't want to get to a point where the bid rating,
Right.
where
you know, you as a person can potentially, you know, be doing business with somebody you know. I'm just saying, be another person, someone else, and, you know,
Well, we can-
I'm just trying to keep the employees person, whatever, that everything goes through the business. You know, believe it or not, the city can't spend a lot of money. And a lot of times, we rely on our department heads to go forward and get quotes. Sometimes it may be the best, sometimes it may not. If we go into seal, I don't know, if we get quotes, we give a seal quote, something like that for the most part, so we count.
Close bid,
Yeah, close bid, yeah, so that way, you don't know what's in there, so, I'm just using, for them, so you can't tell your buddies or whomever that you know to,
And once the specs, I agree with you, once the specs be put out, but I know you mentioned that several months ago about that same,
Yeah.
same one.
All right,
That's what I'm saying.
any other issue, any other debate, any other, if not, there's been a motion, there's been a second, there has been an unreadiness to which the readiness has been responded, all in favor?
I have an extended already. Look, Mr. Davis, I know when the swimming pool situation came up, there was some talk about some assistance from CMU. Has that fallen by the wayside?
Yes, CMU, I think it was stated that they couldn't, after doing some, investigation on that part, that they cannot give the monies to something of that nature.
Okay.
Right.
But they do assist in making sure the lighting, things of that nature.
Okay.
They have,
But what we're looking at is $7,500 out of your budget that wasn't budgeted.
Right, yes, so I'm asking for a budget adjustment to accommodate that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Tim Taylor, aye.
That's what
Pen,
Motion carried. As relates to discussion about gravel on the parking lot at Park and Recreation Avenue, is that you?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna make a motion so we can get the unreadiness. Cause I mean, don't, yeah, all right, go ahead.
I took some pictures to let you guys know what it look like now.
Just a moment.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Pen,
There is a motion on the floor by Alderman Les Penn,
Yoki second.
as a second by Alderman Eric Guilty. So that's where we are.
And then Alan.
So you are going to discuss.
Yes, Mayor,
Yes, sir.
a gentleman that's putting the gravel down over at the Amazon facility, they, more or less just asked to stockpile some gravel there for for a month. And I just took a few pictures just kind of let you guys know, just look how the park, more or less how the entrance look now. He's going, so Alderman Penn made a suggestion, so it should be suitable,
You haven't spoken to him since I said that.
I hadn't spoken to him, I just told him after the meeting today that we will be able to,
Well, yesterday, Mr. Davis brought us the proposal from, that company. Anyway, they were, offering $1,000 for 4 to 6 weeks to stockpile, gravel.
right.
They're gonna unload it, and then they'll reload it. So anyway, what I sent back to the alderman today and the mayor via email, my suggestion, I spoke to a few people, and this is what this is what I propose, is $1,500 for 30 days. They pay when they start. After 30 days, it's $300 per week, and they would pay $300 at the start of each week. That way, because we don't know this company and I don't want to get behind with this company, So it's $1,500 for 30 days, $300 per week after the first 30 days. We do a signed contract with them as they offered, restored to appear as it did or better before we arrived. Before and after pictures provided. Owner, being the city of Canton, furnishes no liability and repair any damages to above mentioned property caused by Richard Brow Construction. So, just to overview it, they offered $1,000 for 4 to 6 weeks. I'm saying we do $1,500 for 30 days, $300 per week after the first 30 days. Sign documentation clearing the city of any liability of their property, along with the understanding of what route we want their trucks to come in and go out with. And then, you know, obviously just let Ms. Banks look over it and approve it.
Are we gonna actually be a bond on the shore?
I would imagine, yeah, just like we would like a dirt pit or something.
Because they're gonna do a lot of hauling, you say over 200 loads, right?
Well, they're saying 100 loads, so I mean, you're looking at 200 loads.
From in and out, right, in and out, to
So
go.
I mean, it's 200 loaded loads, so you're,
Right.
you know, double that, you know, between going and coming, then you double that. So, I mean,
So,
in a day, you end up with 400 dump trucks going in and out of there.
Yeah, we definitely.
so basically, my suggestion is also too, once the attorney sending them a letter stating which the truck route should be,
What company is this?
Richard Vaughn, Vaughn.
Have you talked to them?
Yes, I talked to him, on Friday of last week. He's ready to go because they're trying to get the ground from, Martin Marietta right there by the 84 Lama, so they're on a time frame themselves.
So that would be basically the route, right?
Yes, coming off, Nissan Parkway, it's more or less a truck route anyway.
We just don't want to tear up Waterford without getting
Right,
covered.
yes, you know, even though Wofford is accommodating for a truck,
Yeah.
but we don't still want to make sure they send a bond just in case something happens.
Yeah.
And then he just stated that the
You
interest
just wanna
rate.
make sure that that's.
Yeah, and we don't want them on, social
Social
college.
column, yes,
Okay.
And make sure we have a clear start and end date. So
Okay.
we just be wide open when we're doing that. When you time for it to end, we still going.
You run the truck.
Well, my suggestion is once the attorney send the letter, then I can send it to him, so he can have it approved, so then we can get everything.
I can give you, I can get the exact proposed truck route and detail from you.
Okay.
And just send it out.
Alright,
And normally, Mr. Smith tells us what he thinks the road bond is, so we need to copy you on how much he thinks the road bond is.
Jim's like, okay.
Now, what was the original motion?
You want me to reread?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so the offer we'll make to them would be $1,500 for the first 30 days, payment due at the start, $300 per week after the first 30 days, paid at the beginning of each week. Use only the city truck route, signed contract saying they'll leave the location in the same shape or better than they found it, providing documentation of before and after pictures. Provide a road bond covering the truck route. And also sign documentation clearing the city of any liability of their property while it's in storage on our property.
Do we have a second? Did we have a second?
I think we did.
Guilty second.
Guilty second.
All in favor?
I'm Taylor.
Let's go.
Motion carried. This is also you, Alvin, item 13?
is that the RV park?
No, that's just a clutch.
That's it.
Oh, the clutch, oh, yes, what happened on the clutch,
You told us.
yes, we.
I think Eric is saying.
I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah,
Because you shouldn't have to talk it over again. Whatever previous, that's all.
I think I just need a motion.
We're gonna motion.
Unless you're saying something changed.
Who made the motion?
I make the motion, Mayor.
Yes, I'm
And
saying.
who made the second? Just a moment. Who made the second?
I did.
All in favor?
Hold on, something, he's trying to tell us something.
Yeah, he's trying to tell us something.
But they can't tell us.
Well, no, I'm not getting shy, I just want to respect you guys, cause man, y'all.
Well, that's what you're doing.
We give it to you now.
Okay, now, okay, then, well, what has happened now, Melvin have suggested to come in and just put the clutch in for me, I just need to buy the parts to put the clutch in.
And how much is that now? It's still
Well, it's just pressing the clutch, you know, it's not gonna be, $3,000, Melody's just gonna come in and put the clutch in first.
It's the quote you gave us without the labor.
Without the lady, yes, Well,
You want to go to the
Something like
purchase.
It was 1,500 for the labor.
Yes, right,
Clerks.
yes.
So,
I just asked the board,
so the amount should reflect that.
So you 37, 36, 86,
So-
1,500 for the labor.
yes, mounds the lady.
Okay, Fred, you wanna rephrase your
Yeah,
motion?
it's my motion to allow Park and Recreation Department to purchase a clerk, for the traffic. And
Minus the labor?
minus the
Minus, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item 14, authorize the city attorney to draft a letter for the residents.
Okay,
Okay.
this is dispatch, but it actually is me as well. We had a discussion yesterday about the tenants out there not paying.
This,
It's about 30 tenants, or 31, we were informed of, and only about 10 to 12 of them are
it's
paying
15 have paid consistently.
consistently.
After doing
And then we didn't know that we were taking care of their utilities every month, water and electricity. And they're only paying about $350 a month.
I think a lot of this came on when COVID came, and people said they wasn't gonna pay. But I'm just giving you guys now a contract agreement that,
That they pay.
that they, okay. You know what, man?
Yes.
I know we did that, I just wanna give you guys a contract with,
No, I had a letter to submit to them when they.
No, our letter now, Ms. Banks, is actually, are we wanting to just end this whole thing with them staying out there? And the board is actually saying, oh, we're spearheading.
That's gonna be my next question, about the time.
Yeah, because they were, I was supposed to be out there initially for 30 days, right, Joe? When
well,
did we
no,
start?
after the, you, Big South, you got in the facility, then you came back, y'all went back with a different agreement to let people stay in RV Park consistent in. And one time you had an agreement for only 15 slots could be
Their
permanent.
time, okay.
And then you changed that due to the fact, the 15 was due to the fact of, letting, the other ones for RV, for the, horse shows, things of that nature, or motocross stuff, you had to have some slots left over for that. That was, that back, all the Ray Rose ones, they was in town, and that, on the board then, so. I just went back and just kind of give you a briefing, back there, you know.
Okay.
So are we looking to keep letting them live permanently out there?
Well, that's you guys' decision right there, you know, more or less, because of,
The bigger issue is not necessarily, letting them stay out there. It's the fact that we only charge $350 a month, and they go out and use utilities. I know, I'm quite sure.
I think that's the same thing in moving town to Auburn here. They, every RV park, you pay for the utility. I think moving town charges $350 also too.
Okay, so again, how much,
Sure,
how,
Blue Town probably collecting their money.
They probably collect that, and see, but, see, so we, on the problem here, guys, we haven't been consistent getting the money. After you guys made sure that, told me to make sure I started doing it, I came, and I got on top of everything. for you guys.
so, Energy is a totally different company, so,
Right.
those rates fluctuates here and there. Just whichever way the wind blows. So, and I know customers have issues with, private sales like that, in terms of, why my bill's so high, why this, why that. So I'm trying to find out, how much money we paying Energy as listed at RV Park, I know, yeah. So my thing over here is, that's fact is something to determine whether or not the fees that we're charging at $350
It's not.
is suitable for what we actually, paying out in water and gas.
I found out how much is electricity, and I'll give you guys an update.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, the utilities. Because energy, we paying them.
Does Entity pay out there, Eric, or is it, who do they pay?
No, we pay.
We pay energy.
We pay energy.
They all look up to one.
So we pay, so whatever they use out there, energy's gonna send us a bill.
The way that, RV park is designed, it's just like, there's one brain box, run to all the units. So you have to come in and redo everything, put new, you want to come in and put individual, meters on.
Let me ask you a question then, What is the motion here?
Well, I think we're gonna, Mr. Davis, you said you're gonna get.
I'm gonna get back with you, find out what we are with,
Table it, but that's just the question for everybody to be thinking about. Do we want them to stay there, or do we want to just raise the rent, or what do we want to do?
Say what it needs to be paying right now.
Oh, well, my recommendation, we have several that have not paid, we need to make sure they get a letter. On today, I came up here personally and brought, check with, Miss Davis, see how many paid. I think we have a total, you can see after the 5th of the month, they should be, there's a $25 fee, late fee on that. That should be, all that should be current now, and after the 5th, if you have not paid, we need to make sure you get a letter. Now, those who have not been paid for January and February, I need to be trying to, well, not I, but we need to be trying to get them an eviction letter. More or less.
Okay.
You haven't sent them one though yet.
I have not sent one because I have not gotten one to go. Well, I think once before you had one that, we drafted one several years ago. So I would love to get one from you now, and we can, make sure we get an officer, Alvin Davis, do not have our, you got a name, John? Matter of fact, I don't even have a key to the multipurpose complex. Y'all have me over. Okay, let's see, help me on that one too.
Okay, let me ask you this, in terms of dollars and cents, how much money is received to utility bills on a monthly basis, as towards the bill that we pay?
That's what we'll get that out, yes.
Okay, and rent too, so.
Okay. I'll do a breakdown on that.
What's the total amount? When everybody pays, supposed to pay, what's the total amount?
Over $11,000.
Over
Over 11,000.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Okay.
All right.
Alright. As it relates to item 15, request from the mayor,
Do we vote on? We need to vote on. Oh, we table. Oh,
what's the motion?
To table it,
Okay. There's been a motion to table item 14, and a second by Alderman Fred Esco. All in favor? Motion carried. As it relates to item 15, I send that to you guys by email.
Well, we've got a copy of it, Mayor.
You do?
I'll make a motion so we can get to it.
Yeah, okay.
All right, what we were requesting, because, we originally had this out on Kenny Road, and then, Alderman Wells and myself both mentioned it the next meeting, and you said they were moving to Covington instead of Finney.
Yes, I think they're working through.
And we have not got anything in writing from them saying they were not going to Finney Road and they were going to Covington. Because this letter we have here still says Finney Road.
Oh, okay.
At the top of the same page.
You need a revision of the letter of intent.
Correct.
Okay. I will notify the company. Thanks.
Yeah, but I think we actually have gone over a few things in this intent here that we've changed on the terms also.
So you want a motion to table?
Well, it's really not that, because this isn't an updated one, so, this is the one that we originally accepted, but it's also the one that I wanted to vote, to send my vote. But if we're gonna get an updated one, then, we can table it until we get an update.
Are these the terms that we voted on, or the original terms that were presented?
Well, this is what the board voted on.
Because we were, looking at the word will and shall, and, isn't that correct, Ms. Banks?
And that's because we were speaking on behalf of other entities that we didn't want to be held liable for, speaking on their behalf, because it had to go through a few steps before it actually was completed and making sure. So that's why we hung on the language at the time.
my motion is to, table this item with the mayor requesting a new letter of intent from Vision Company Holdings by the next, by the second March Board of Alderman meeting.
Yes, sir. You have heard the motion, and it's second by Alderman B.J. Brown. All in favor? Motion carried.
Mr. Davis, did you need these pictures of the parking lot?
Yes, I just keep them in my file, so
Yeah.
I can, once everything come back to.
That's only two of them there.
Mayor, we entertain a motion to
The pictures.
Mayor, we entertain a motion to adopt the approval of the consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion, Mayor, that we approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I have an unreadiness.
There's an in readiness by Alderman Tim Taylor.
Concerning item number 22, when is this going into effect?
22,
Tomorrow morning.
Oh, tomorrow morning? Okay. I'm good.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Mayor, we entertain a motion to go into determination of executive session. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carried. Mayor, we now entertain a motion to go into executive session. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor? Now in executive session.